How's it going, Sad? Kind of a two-parter for you. With Z White, just his development throughout the year. I know you guys really liked him in the preseason. He was the starting back, and then now he's kind of the starting back, I guess. Just how have you seen him progress throughout this year? And the second part of that is how has he looked at practice this week?
Like you said, I mean, through spring ball, through the summer, through fall camp, like he was the most productive guy back there. So, I mean, he started the season, had a lot of production early, and like Coach Beamer talks about, just the competition. And it's not just coach talk. I know that's kind of a boring response, but those other guys started playing, and, you know, just, it's hard when you're on the mountaintop, people are chasing you. Like, I mean, some guys called him there for a couple of weeks, and then, you know, he just kept fighting. Got back out there, and ever since he's gotten back out there, he just keeps making plays. And it's not always pretty, it's not always perfect, but I mean, if you get the ball in his hands, there's a chance that you're going to have some nice production on that play. So, how's he look this week? The same old Z White. I mean, you know, it's the 12th game of the season, so everybody's a little beat up, everybody's a little tired. They've been grinding really hard. It's an emotional season. If it wasn't for him out there, you know, to pick us up and get us going, like he always keeps everything going from an energy standpoint and competitive. You know, it's just he just keeps getting better and better.
Marcus, kind of to that, I mean, it seems like, how would you kind of describe how Z runs? I mean, at least on my end, it seems like he kind of runs angry. It seems like he's not afraid to kind of pop a guy in the mouth, and obviously has some shiftiness. How would you kind of describe his ability in the open field and sort of between the tackles as well?
He's very much a slasher. I mean, he's a long strider slasher. You can see, you know, he can, I don't know what the word is, put his foot in the ground and cut on a dime. Sometimes he cuts too much, which is what we've worked with him since we've been here, just one cut and go. But he's got a slasher mentality, and you're right, like he'll try to run through you. He's got a physical nature to him, and he's just so unique just because he can be physical, but then he can run away from you. And, you know, he can be finesse or he can be 4-minute offense. So he's got a nice blend of both types of backs that you're looking for.
Marcus, how would you evaluate the offensive performance against Auburn, and what does this offense have to do after you guys obviously beat Florida and then came back against Missouri and struggled some offensively? What does it have to do to be more consistent and replicate some of the stuff you did against Auburn into this week?
That's a really good question. We talked about that actually today, just the fact that it's never going to be perfect, and right now where we are, we just fight, scratch, and claw, whatever it takes to score points, to get first downs. And you know, we told them, like, we were inconsistent against Florida, but we played really hard and had great intent and great energy. We were really inconsistent against Missouri, and our point to them was you went on the road on the SEC and scored 28 points and really didn't play very good. So you're making strides, but the inconsistency, ups and downs, we got to stop that. And Coach Beamer actually addressed it today. Just, you know, we had good practice yesterday, but there's still signs of some inconsistencies throughout practice, and we've got to sew those up and make sure that when we fix an issue, it stays fixed and it doesn't come back down, and we have to keep fixing it, you know, every other week. To talk about the offense, I think that our offensive line, I think, is doing a nice job. We're far from perfect, but they're playing really, really hard and playing with some confidence. I think, you know, we got Jalen Nichols at left tackle the last game. I think he played a really nice game. He did some really good things from an athletic standpoint to open the pocket and protect the quarterback. I think with the running backs, the way that they're running and the ways that we're using them to run, you know, we're getting maximum production out of them. So we're not going to be, you know, we're not going to be 500 yards a game, 50 points right now, but we're just going to attack every game with a mission of this is how we have a chance to be successful in this game. Now let's go do it with the right mindset.
Marcus, from a playmaking standpoint, are you guys going into this matchup with Clemson this weekend thinking that you need to get more out of Jason Brown at the quarterback position just to kind of offset Clemson potentially loading the box and things of that nature?
Oh, definitely. Challenged them all week this week. Like we have to throw the ball, and it can't be, you know, a shot here, a shot there, a ball to Z White. Like we have to throw the football. Like we're going to drop back and go through progressions and make completions and play with good timing. So, you know, we worked on the pocket stuff after the Missouri game. I think you could see, like, he didn't do his patented move, which I'm not against his patented move. Every now and then it's a great move, but you saw him a couple of times working into the pocket last week. So he's really done a nice job with that. This week we're just working on just getting the ball out of your hands. And there's going to come a time when we can't just run the ball. We're going to have to throw the ball to have success. And so He'll be ready for this week. We got a good little package for him. I think he knows it inside out. The wideouts know it. So I'll look to him to improve from that standpoint. Not that he's been bad. He hadn't had to really do it yet, but just to be able to utilize the passing game a little bit more.
Marcus, when you look at Clemson on tape, what kind of challenges do they present? And, is this basically the last couple of years of Brent Venables' defense? Do you feel like it's the exact same?
I do. I mean, I've never played coach before, but, they're very disruptive up front. They've got, I don't know names. But 47's played since I think I was an eighth. I mean, he's been playing for an eternity, and 24's been playing for an eternity. So those guys allow them to be really multiple because they're getting guys lined up. They know the scheme inside and out. They're very productive, and those guys are fun to watch play. I don't like playing against them, but they're really fun to watch. They play the right way. I think their defensive line is very disruptive. That's the thing that, doesn't scare us, but that's things that we've got to monitor and make sure that we got a plan for. As far as just schematically, I mean, they do a little bit of everything. 3 down, 4 down, bring a lot of pressures, even on first and second down. And if he can get you in third and long, that's when the fun starts. I mean, he just turns it loose, and so you don't know where they're coming from. And, we got to fight like heck to make sure that we stay out of those definite passing situations. We got to make sure on third downs we have a chance to be run or pass. So it's a bear to watch for sure. He keeps you on your toes.
She mentioned building a plan to be successful this week. When you're building that plan, I'm not asking you to give away state secrets. What does that look like, and what's the game plan to beat a defense as good as Clemson's?
We just had to maximize. I mean, the good thing for us is we've had injuries, so it's forced us to move guys around. I mean, I'll stand up here at the start of the season and talk about how the offense is unbelievable. We can move people anywhere we want to and all that good stuff. But, you can do that. We do that. But when you have injury, you have to move people in different places. So we got a couple kids that are playing a bunch of different positions, and it's been awesome because we've been able to run a lot of different things and get people the ball in certain situations and certain alignments that we may not have done before. And so when you start to build a plan, you see who you have available, you see what they do, you try to create matchups, and that's where you start from the run game and from the pass game. So just moving people in the right spots to whether we're throwing it or running it to have some success.
Marcus, you mentioned how multiple Clemson is. So does that put even more of a premium on having your communication together and not have some of the mistakes you had in communication earlier this season?
100%, because what they do is they force you to be simple, and you can't be simple because if you're simple, they're good enough just to suffocate you. So it's kind of I don't even know what a word is to describe where they put you in limbo, I guess. So you're going to have to do certain things to be able to attack these guys, and it's going to take communication up front, communication from the quarterback, communication to the receivers. So that's something that, as an young offense, we're struggling with a little bit. And, that's, again, we've addressed that in the team meeting today with Coach Beamer. Like, we went out there today with a point of emphasis of communication, whether it be from coach to coach, sideline to coach, sideline to player, quarterback to huddle, lineman to lineman. All that stuff was just in hyper-focus today, and the kids did a really nice job. But they force you to be on your game for sure.
Marcus, Jason has, scrambled a lot, when pressures come in or a little bit of design there. But I don't think I've noticed a lot of designed runs for him. Is that, maybe a bit of self-preservation because he is the third quarterback of the season, or is it just we want you to concentrate on this and not worry about running so much?
I think that he has the ability to – he's one of those guys that when he scrambles, he is mobile enough and more than mobile enough to extend plays and be very productive. He's one of those – there's a lot of quarterbacks. I'm just thinking in my head of guys I'm thinking of. There's a lot of quarterbacks when you design a run for them, they can't run it worth a lick. But if it's all schedule and they're out there in space, they're way more athletic and way more mobile. So I would say he would fit into that category where there's not a lot of – designed direct runs with him other than some of the read game out there for us. That's where you've seen, Kevin Harris and DK and all those guys, getting a shot back there.
Sad, obviously, Greg wasn't on the sideline last week, but how do you think Lonnie worked with those guys, at least during the game? And I guess, what did you think of the offensive line play last week?
I thought they did a really nice job all throughout the week. Lonnie Teasley did a heck of a job coaching the offensive line. Of course, he's been my old line coach before, so there was comfort level there with him. I trusted him and knew that he was preaching the same thing, and he knows exactly what he's talking about. So I think those kids really responded, played hard for Coach Atkins, played hard for Lonnie, and that showed. But it was a clean game. They played very well.
Marcus, I'm curious, when an opponent's offensive coordinator, or if it's a head coach who calls plays, whomever calls plays for the other team, when they make a decision in a certain down and distance or what have you in a game, and they fail to convert, what is that? How do you digest that looking from the other side? Does that do anything mentally for you in the box, or make you think about something else when it gets potentially in that same situation, or how does that work? As I guess
if the opponent, like I'm playing, like if I'm up there watching, I'm like, what did they just do?
Right. Yeah.
It puts you back into focus. Like, dang, I'm glad I didn't make that. I'm glad I didn't do that. But if it would have, it's one of those things. Like if it works, you're a genius. You're cutting edge. You believe in your players. You're a player's coach. That's why you've been so successful. If it fails, it's easy just to throw rocks at you. But yeah, if that play, which I think I know what you're talking about, would have worked, they'd have been gurus, been geniuses. But it didn't. So you just you can't let what people think, can't let the emotions, all that stuff affect your calls. I mean, you trust your players in certain situations and go from there.
Marcus, I think I asked at the beginning of the season, how would you kind of grade yourself over the first couple games? Now that you're, I guess, one game away from finishing up your first regular season here, how would you kind of describe the job you've done in trying to obviously deal with the quarterback issues and the things like that? How do you feel like you've done so far this year?
I mean, I'm never going to grade myself. That's a bad question for me because I'm always just self-hate all the time against myself. But I think I've done a really nice job. Like, I'm very proud of the product that we're putting out there. Is it perfect? Is it fun to watch all the time? As a fan, I'm sure it's not. But we're doing it, and we're making the decisions as a staff in order to be successful as a team. Could we go out there and do certain things and try to win the stat game and try to raise our ranking and certain things? Yeah, we could, but we're doing what it takes to win right now. Yes, I think the cool thing, I was thinking about this the other day talking to my dad. You watch games all the time, and team might be struggling, and all they talk about is, well, Coach so-and-so really struggling this year. They've had all these injuries. They're playing with young players. They're doing all this stuff. I think we've done a nice job, Coach Beamer, offensively, defensively, all of us. We don't use anything for an excuse. Like, have we missed a lot of players? Definitely. Are we on our third quarterback? Definitely. Did we have our GA play quarterback? Yes. All right. Was it fun? No. But it's very damn rewarding when you come off of, you've beaten Florida, you've beaten Auburn, and you fought your butt off. And I think that it's not pretty, and I understand that, but I am very proud of what we've been able to accomplish. And I don't mean that with proud of what we've been able to accomplish with these guys. Like, I'm proud of these guys for believing in the plan and believing in what we want to do and how we present it and how we can tell them we're going to win. Because, again, it's not fun to be a receiver and run the ball 1,000 times the last game, but they were balled into doing whatever it took to win the game.
Sat, kind of to that, I mean, obviously having, like, we talk about how good, like, these teams at the top of the college football, right, are teams that have consistency at quarterback. You guys have won, I think, all three of you guys have won 2 games. What does that say about this quarterback room right now? And I guess, coming into a season, did you feel like you were going to have to win games with 3 different quarterbacks? And I guess just now that you've seen that, what's that like to have been a part of?
No, it's not anything that you want to do. I think it says collectively, we got a good group of guys in there that are tough enough to go do things to have a chance to win games in the SEC. I was giving Jason Brown a hard time. I was like, man, if you can pull this off, you'll be immortal, man. Your first 4 starts, you beat Auburn, Florida, and Clemson. That's pretty darn good. And he just kind of smiled. But no, it's a good room, and they're confident. They play off each other. Zeb's such an instrumental part of that room. He's a player still, but he's also a coach. And just throughout the game and throughout the week, he's just, you can't explain how valuable he is in this whole process of making sure that things are tight and moving in the right direction from the quarterback standpoint.
Marcus, I know every week it's kind of a chess match. You have to make adjustments as the game goes on. We know the challenges that Missouri presented you, trying to work upfield with their DNs to keep Jason in that pocket. Going into a game like this, knowing what Clemson's defense has been able to do the last couple of years, how important will in-game adjustments be this week, and how do you kind of prepare for adjustments? Like I said, I know it's every week, but knowing that this week, probably more than ever, knowing that the caliber of defense they have.
You go back. The great thing about this is Coach Venables has been there for a long time, so there's historical data that you can go back and watch. I can go watch Joe Brady play against him. I can go watch Ohio State play against him. I can go watch Alabama play against him, and it's the same defense in a lot of ways. He's it's grown. He's put in and taken out throughout the years, but still the same personality. And so just to watch those games, go back and I've watched games from 2017, 18, 19, like just random games, and to see how he's playing certain guys and certain types of offenses. And I was not to get off, but I was kind of talking to some guys the other day, like I know what I think our offense looks like. I don't even know what in the heck our offense looks like to an opposing team. Like, are we a running team? Are we passing? Are we this? Are we that? So, because we've been a little bit of everything. But I think just going back in the historical data that's there for us to look at is huge, just to know what he's done in the past to certain styles of offenses. Thank you, guys.